The call from the stars. The distress signal echoed through the grand atrium of the Galactic Council, its plaintive tones resonating with desperation. This is Luminara Colony. We are under attack. The Void March has breached our outer settlements. We have no defenses. Please, anyone, help us. The message looped endlessly, filling the vaulted chamber with its haunting plea. The Luminari were known throughout the galaxy for their wisdom, artistic achievements, and absolute commitment to peace. They were also known for having no concept of warfare. Ambassador Chen Wei remained silent as the 12 High Counselors shifted uncomfortably in their ornate seats. None wanted to speak first. The distress call had been repeating for 5 standard cycles. The Void March has likely conquered half the planet by now, said Admiral Krax, the only military officer present. The reptilian veteran's scales darkened with concern. They never leave survivors. They strip worlds of resources, take what captives they desire, and burn everything else. Elder Zareen, head of the council, leaned forward. Her crystalline form caught the light, sending prismatic reflections across the chamber. We all grieve for the Luminari, but Luminara Colony lies beyond the far reach. Our fastest peacekeeping vessels would take 20 cycles to arrive. Chen had anticipated this response. It was the same one she had received from each species she'd approached over the past 5 cycles. The Gora could not send aid because of their hibernation period. The Vexari were in the midst of their ceremonial isolation. The Praetor simply had no combat-capable ships. There is one option we haven't explored, Chen said carefully. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Earth, she finally stated. The chamber fell silent, even the distress call seeming to fade into the background. The humans, Elder Zareen whispered, her crystal form darkening. You cannot be serious. They have ships, fast ones, Chen insisted. Their homeworld is closer to Luminara than any of our central systems. They are barbarians, interrupted Counselor Tyke, his fungal crown pulsing with agitation. They evolved on a Class 12 death world, Ambassador. Do you comprehend what that means? Their planet tried to kill them every moment of their evolution, and instead of perishing like sensible beings, they fought back and won. Admiral Krax cleared his throat. Counselor Tyke isn't wrong about their nature, but the humans possess one remarkable trait. They respond to distress signals. Always. It's almost a biological imperative for them. Chen nodded quickly. In the 8 solar cycles since Earth joined the Council, they've diverted their vessels no fewer than 17 times to answer distress calls from species they've never encountered. And in doing so, they've engaged in violence each time, Counselor Tyke countered. Only against aggressors, Krax replied. Never against those who called for help. Elder Zareen raised a hand for silence. Even if we decided to request their assistance, what could one planet do? The Void March commands a fleet. Chen and Krax exchanged a meaningful glance. It was Krax who answered. The humans don't fight like the rest of us. They're different. The council erupted in overlapping voices, some curious, some outrage. Elder Zareen restored order by activating the chamber's harmonic resonators, producing a tone that commanded attention. We will vote, Zareen declared. Should we formally request Earth's assistance for the Luminary of Luminara Colony? The vote was close. 7-5 in favor. Chen felt a wave of relief wash over her, though she knew many would criticize this decision. She quickly drafted the formal request and transmitted it through the special channel established for communication with Earth. The council members waited in tense silence. Most expected a delayed response or polite refusal. Earth had remained largely isolated since joining the galactic community, sending only a handful of representatives who rarely spoke at meetings. The reply arrived just 90 seconds later. SOS UEAs VNGUARD deploying ETA 48 HFY. Chen read the message aloud. The council members looked at one another in confusion. UEAs. asked Elder Zareen. United Earth Ship, Admiral Krax explained, a traditional designation for their vessels. But Vanguard? I'm not familiar with this ship. An aide hurried into the chamber and whispered something to Krax. The Admiral's scales paled visibly. Well, prompted Counselor Tyke. The Vanguard is not registered in Earth's civilian fleet, Krax said carefully. It's a military vessel, a destroyer-class warship. The chamber went completely silent. They're sending a warship. Elder Zareen's voice wavered with disbelief. Not peacekeepers or diplomats, but an actual instrument of war. I believe, Krax said deliberately, that the humans have interpreted our request in their own way. They see a people under attack, and they're responding with protection. Protection. Counselor Tyke scoffed. Is that what they call it? Chen looked down at her datapad, where the simple human message still displayed. 3 lines. Direct. Efficient. No diplomacy. No hesitation. No questions asked. Simply, we heard you. We're coming. We'll be there in 2 days. We should alert the luminary, Chen suggested. Tell them help is coming. Are we sure it is help? Asked Elder Zareen. Perhaps we should clarify with Earth exactly what their intentions are. Admiral Krax shook his head. The Vanguard has already departed Earth space at maximum velocity. They won't stop for clarification. Another aide entered and handed Krax a data crystal. The Admiral inserted it into the chamber's projector, and a holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It showed a ship unlike any the Council members had seen before. Sleek, black, with visible weapon emplacements, and an angular design that somehow radiated menace. This is the only known image of the Vanguard, Krax explained, taken during a joint exercise last year. Earth doesn't share specifications of their military vessels. It looks predatory, whispered a counselor. Admiral, Elder Zareen said, in your professional opinion, what exactly will happen when this ship reaches Luminara? Krax studied the rotating image, his expression unreadable. The humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. It means to negotiate peacefully while possessing overwhelming force in reserve. He gestured to the image of the Vanguard. This, Council members, is a very big stick. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. The Void March is about to learn something that every predator on Earth discovered long ago. Sometimes, what looks like prey is actually a predator in disguise. In the background, the luminary distress call continued its loop. Please, anyone, help us. But now those words carried a different weight. Help was coming, but it wasn't the kind of help anyone had expected. As the council session ended, Shen found herself contemplating the human response. Most species would have sent their kindest members, their most diplomatic voices, their gentlest healers. The humans were sending their warriors. Chen wasn't sure if that made them monsters or heroes. Perhaps, she thought as she glanced again at the image of the Vanguard, they were something else entirely, something the galaxy had no name for yet. But the Void March was about to find out. Commander Maya Rice stood motionless on the bridge of the UES Vanguard, hands clasped behind her back. Through the main viewport, she watched stars stretch into brilliant streaks as the ship tore through hyperspace. The bridge was quiet save for the soft hum of instruments and occasional murmured communications among the crew. Time to arrival, Rice asked, her voice steady. 17 minutes, Commander, replied Lieutenant Park from the navigation station. The luminary distress signal is still broadcasting, added Communications Officer Hassan. No change in the message. Rice nodded. 2 days of travel at maximum velocity had brought them to the edge of the Luminara system. 2 days during which the Void March had continued their assault on a defenseless people. Tactical display, Rice ordered. First Officer Karim activated the holographic projector in the center of the bridge. A 3-dimensional map of the Luminara system materialized, with the planet glowing soft blue at its center. Red markers indicated the positions of 9 Voidmark vessels in orbit. Their fleet is dispersed, Karim observed. No defensive formation, They're not expecting company. Why would they? Rais said. The nearest council outpost is weeks away at top speed. But we're not from the council, Karim said with a slight smile. No, agreed Rais. We're not. Dr. Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist, entered the bridge with a datapad. His white lab coat stood in stark contrast to the dark uniforms of the bridge crew. Commander, I've completed my research on the Luminary, Okafor said. They're even more vulnerable than we thought. Rais gestured for him to continue. The Luminary evolved on a world with virtually no predators and minimal environmental threats, Okafor explained, displaying images of tall, willowy beings with softly luminescent skin. Their bodies naturally produce light, bioluminescence, and they're empathic within short ranges. Empathic? Karim asked, suddenly concerned. Will they be able to read our minds? Not exactly, Okafor clarified. They sense emotions and general intentions, but they can't access specific thoughts or memories. It's more like feeling the shape of someone's mind. And what will they feel from us? Rais asked quietly. Okafor hesitated. That's the concern, Commander. The Luminary have no concept of violence. None. Their entire evolution occurred without it. When they sense our capacity for combat, our willingness to fight, it might frighten them as much as the Void March does. Rais considered this information carefully. So we're going to rescue people who might be terrified of us, people who may not understand we're trying to help. Yes, Okafor confirmed. But there's something else. Their empathy works both ways. When a Luminary is killed, all nearby Luminary feel it happen. The Void March isn't just attacking them physically. They're causing psychological trauma with every death. The bridge fell silent as the crew processed this information. Rais's expression hardened. Tell me about the Void Mark, she said. Karim adjusted the holographic display, bringing up images of various ships and alien beings. The Void March isn't a single species. They're outcasts and criminals from dozens of worlds who've united under one leader, War Commander Vex. The display showed a massive armored being with multiple limbs and eyes that glowed an unsettling amber. Vex was once a highly decorated officer in the Theran Defense Forces, Karim continued. He was exiled for war crimes during a border conflict. Instead of accepting punishment, he seized a warship and vanished into the outer systems. Over the years, he's gathered others like him, beings who enjoy inflicting suffering. Their tactics? Rais asked. Standard raid protocol, Karim replied. They target developing worlds with limited defenses. They take what they want: resources, technology, captives, and destroy everything else. No witnesses, no consequences. Until now, Rais said quietly. The ship's navigator called out. Preparing to exit hyperspace, Commander. Battle stations, Rais ordered. Throughout the Vanguard, lights dimmed to combat settings and alert signals sounded. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency to their positions. Activate stealth systems upon exit, Rais continued. No emissions, no transmissions. I want us completely invisible. Stealth systems ready, reported the tactical officer. Exit in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The stretched stars suddenly collapsed back to points of light as the Vanguard dropped out of hyperspace at the very edge of the Luminara system. The ship's specialized hull absorbed rather than reflected light, making it appear as little more than a moving shadow against the stars. Stealth systems active, confirmed the tactical officer. We are running silent. Long-range scanners, Rais ordered. The main view screen shifted to show Luminara in detail. It was a beautiful world of azure oceans and emerald continents, but even from this distance, the crew could see dark smoke rising from several locations on the planet's surface. Magnify, Rais said, her voice tight. The image zoomed in on one of the burning areas. It had once been a city, a collection of elegant spiraling structures arranged in harmonious patterns. Now, half of those structures were shattered or burning. Small ships moved between the buildings, landing to collect goods and captives before taking off again. Life signs? Rise asked. Thousands of luminary life signatures concentrated in what appeared to be detention areas, reported the sensor officer. Void March forces are moving through the city systematically. Rise studied the tactical display, noting the positions of all 9 Void March ships. One small vessel was currently separate from the others, positioned near the edge of the system. Patrol duty, Rise murmured. Perfect. She turned to Karim. First, we need information. Target the isolated patrol ship. Approach course, minimum power. Let's introduce ourselves. As the Vanguard glided silently through space toward the unsuspecting Void March vessel, Rise opened a secure channel to the ship's Special Operations Bay, where 20 soldiers in black combat armor were checking their equipment. Major Santos, Rise called. A tall, lean soldier looked up at the screen. Commander, prepare your team for ground deployment, Rise instructed. Your primary objective is to secure luminary hostages and gather intelligence on Void March ground forces. Rules of engagement, Santos asked. Protect the luminary at all costs, Rise replied. As for the Void March, she paused. Use your judgment, Major. But remember, they started this. We're going to finish it. Santos nodded once, understanding perfectly. Back on the bridge, the Vanguard closed in on the lone Void March patrol ship, a vessel called the Harvester according to its identification signal. The Void March crew had no idea they were being hunted. In range, Commander, reported the tactical officer. Rise took a deep breath. This was the moment when the mission truly began. Until now, they had been observers. With her next order, they would become participants in a battle that would likely change this system forever. The Luminary had sent out a call for help, expecting aid workers, diplomats, or perhaps a few peacekeepers with limited weapons. Instead, they were getting the UES Vanguard, one of Earth's most advanced warships, crewed by beings who had evolved on a world where danger lurked around every corner, where survival meant being stronger, smarter, or faster than whatever was trying to kill you. Disengage stealth systems, Rise ordered. Target their engines only. I want that ship disabled, not destroyed. The black hull of the Vanguard suddenly illuminated as its systems powered to full capacity. To the crew of the Harvester, it must have seemed like a predator materializing out of nowhere. Open communications, Rise said. The Void March were about to learn an important lesson. Sometimes, when you hunt the helpless, you attract the attention of something far more dangerous than your prey. Rise stood tall, her voice clear and firm as she addressed the enemy. This is Commander Rise of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. You are conducting illegal operations against a protected species. Surrender immediately. The hunt had begun. What prey became? The bridge of the Void March ship Harvester fell silent as Commander Rice's face appeared on their main screen. The human's steady gaze revealed nothing, but her words hung in the air like a blade. This is Commander Rise of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. You are conducting illegal operations against a protected species. Surrender immediately. The Harvester's captain, a scared being called Thorn, recovered quickly from his surprise. Patch me through to War Commander Vex, he hissed to his communications officer. Moments later, Vex's face appeared on a secondary screen, his amber eyes narrowing as Thorn explained the situation. One ship, Vex laughed, his voice like grinding stone. The Galactic Council must be truly desperate to send a single vessel. Vex leaned closer to his camera, addressing the human commander directly. Tell your council masters that Luminara belongs to the Void March now. Leave while you still can. We're not from the council, Rise replied evenly. We're from Earth. A flicker of uncertainty crossed Vex's face. Earth? The Death World. He paused, then shrugged dismissively. Your reputation is exaggerated. One ship cannot stand against 9. Leave now, and we might allow it. Rise ended the transmission without responding. First Officer Karim looked at her. They're not taking us seriously. Good. Rais said with a slight smile. Target the Harvester's engine section. Precision strike only. On the tactical screen, the crew watched as the Vanguard's weapons systems locked onto the Voidmart vessel's propulsion systems. Fire, Rais ordered. A single energy beam lanced out from the Vanguard, striking the Harvester with surgical precision. The Voidmart ship's engines flared and died, leaving it drifting helplessly. Direct hit, reported the tactical officer. Their engines are disabled. Life support intact. Now we have their attention, Rais said. All remaining Voidmart ships are changing course to intercept us. 8 warships, each comparable in size to the Vanguard, began moving to surround the human vessel. Their weapons charge, creating glowing points of light against the blackness of space. They're forming a standard encirclement pattern, Karim observed. Predictable. Too predictable, Rais agreed. She turned to her navigation officer. Prepare quantum jump sequence alpha. Target coordinates directly behind their command ship. The officer looked startled. Commander, a jump that precise is extremely dangerous. The calculations have already been made, Rais interrupted. This is what we trained for, Lieutenant. As the Voidmart ships closed in, their weapons reaching optimal firing range, Rais gave the order. Execute jump. The Vanguard vanished in a flash of light, only to reappear seconds later directly behind the largest Voidmart vessel. Vex's command ship, the Subjugator. Fire at will, Rais commanded. The Vanguard unleashed a barrage of weapons fire at the Subjugator's unprotected rear. Alarms blared on the Voidmart vessels as they scrambled to adjust their formation. They're confused, Karim said with satisfaction. They've never seen a ship perform a jump that precise within a system. Again, Rais ordered. Jump sequence beta. The Vanguard disappeared once more, reappearing above a different Voidmart ship. More precision strikes followed. They're trying to predict our pattern, Karim noted as the Voidmart began firing wildly. There is no pattern, Rais replied. On Luminara's surface, Major Santos led his team of Special Forces soldiers through the ruins of what had once been a beautiful Luminary city. They had landed their stealth dropship in a secluded valley 5 kilometers from the largest detention center. Santos signaled his team to halt as they reached the edge of a clearing. Ahead, a large crystalline structure had been converted into a prison. Voidmarch guards patrolled the perimeter, while inside, hundreds of luminary were visible, their softly glowing bodies making them easy to spot even from a distance. 8 guards at the main entrance, whispered Corporal Chen, the team's scout. 4 more on the roof. Basic security system. Santos nodded. Standard formation. Non-lethal takedowns where possible. Remember, the luminary will sense any deaths telepathically. The team split into 3 groups and moved silently through the shadows. Santos' group approached the main entrance, using the cover of fallen structures. They watched as a Voidmarch guard passed by, then another. Santos activated his neural comm. On my mark. 3, 2, 1. Execute. The human soldiers moved with coordinated precision. 2 guards fell to silent tranquilizer rounds. Another was incapacitated by a neural disruptor. Within 40 seconds, all exterior guards were neutralized without raising an alarm. Perimeter secure, Chen reported. Moving to Phase 2. Santos led the way inside the prison. The luminary captives backed away in fear as the human soldiers entered, their luminescence dimming with distress. We're not here to hurt you, Santos said, removing his helmet to show his face. We're here to help. We received your distress signal. The nearest luminary, taller than the others, and with a slightly more intense glow, stepped forward cautiously. You are human, it said, its voice musical and resonant. From Earth. Yes, Santos confirmed. I'm Major Santos of the United Earth Ship Vanguard. We're evacuating you to safety. The luminary's glow brightened slightly. I am Elder Lyra. We sensed your arrival in orbit. We felt violence. Santos nodded. The Voidmarch attacked your people. We're stopping them. With more violence. Elder Lyra stated, "It wasn't a question." "With the minimum force necessary," Santos replied. "But yes, it's how we protect those who cannot protect themselves." The luminary studied Santos for a long moment, their empathic senses clearly probing the human's intentions. Finally, Elder Lyra spoke again. "We sense no malice in you. Only determination. Protection. Something unfamiliar to us." "It's called resolve," Santos said. "Now we need to move quickly. Our ship is engaging the Void March fleet, but we don't have much time." The luminary followed the human soldiers out of the prison, moving in an orderly line despite their obvious fear. As they reached the exterior, a Void March patrol ship appeared overhead, its searchlights sweeping the area. "Cover," Santos ordered, pushing several luminary behind a fallen wall. The patrol ship opened fire, plasma bolts striking the ground nearby. The luminary cried out in unison, their empathic connection making them feel each other's terror. Santos activated his tactical display. Team 2, deploy countermeasures. From a nearby position, soldiers launched electronic warfare drones that immediately began jamming the patrol ship's sensors. Santos shouldered his rifle and took aim. "Major," Elder Lyra said urgently, "there are 3 Void March aboard that vessel. If you kill them, we'll feel their deaths," Santos finished. "I understand, but if we don't stop them, they'll alert others." He adjusted his weapons settings. Non-lethal rounds, engine targeting only. The rifle fired a series of specialized projectiles that attached to the patrol ship's engines and detonated in bursts of electrical energy. The ship sputtered and began a controlled descent, forced to land, but with its crew unharmed. Elder Lyra's glow brightened with something approaching understanding. "You could have destroyed them completely." "We could have," Santos agreed, "but that's not always necessary. Now let's move. Our extraction point is 2 kilometers north." As the humans led the luminary refugees through the ruins of their city, more Void March patrols appeared. Each time, the Special Forces team neutralized the threat with minimal casualties, demonstrating a level of restraint that clearly surprised the luminary. In orbit, the battle continued. The Vanguard executed another quantum jump, appearing within firing range of yet another Void March vessel. 3 enemy ships were now disabled, drifting helplessly through space. "The subjugator is changing course," reported the tactical officer. "They're making a run for the planet's surface. They're going after the luminary settlements," Karim said. "Taking hostages." "Not if we can help it," Rise replied. "Intercept course. Maximum speed." The Vanguard streaked toward Luminara, racing the subjugator to the planet's atmosphere. On the communications channel, War Commander Vex's face appeared, his amber eyes blazing with rage. "You've interfered enough, human," he snarled. "We still hold thousands of luminary captive. Back off, or we start executing them." "Look at your tactical display, Vex," Reyes replied calmly. "Special Forces teams are already freeing your captives. You have nothing to bargain with." Vex's expression shifted from rage to disbelief as he received reports confirming Reyes's claim. "Impossible. How did your troops penetrate our defenses so quickly?" "You've never fought humans before," Reyes said simply. "Surrender now, and we'll spare your remaining ships." Vex laughed harshly. "Never. The Void March does not surrender." "Then you leave us no choice," Reyes replied. She closed the channel and turned to Karim. "Target the subjugator's weapon systems and engines. Disable them completely." "What about Vex?" Karim asked. "He's made his choice," Reyes said. "Fire when ready." The Vanguard unleashed its full arsenal against the subjugator. Precision-guided weapons struck the Void March command ship with devastating effect, disabling its weapons, engines, and communication systems in rapid succession. "Direct hits on all targets," reported the tactical officer. "The subjugator is dead in space. The remaining Void March vessels are powering down their weapons, added the communications officer. "They're signaling surrender." Reyes nodded. "Accept their surrender. Prepare boarding parties to secure their ships." She activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is Commander Reyes. The Void March fleet has been neutralized. Major Santos reports that luminary evacuation is proceeding as planned. Well done, everyone." On the planet's surface, Santos and his team had gathered over 3,000 luminary refugees at the evacuation point. Transport shuttles from the Vanguard were already landing to begin relocation operations. Elder Lyra approached Santos, her glow now steady and bright. "Your people have strange abilities, Major. You fight with such effectiveness, yet you restrained yourselves. Why?" Santos considered the question carefully. "On Earth, we have a saying. The true measure of power is not in its use, but in its restraint. We could have destroyed the Void March completely, but that would have caused you pain through your empathic connection, and it wasn't necessary to accomplish our mission." "Your species is a contradiction," Elder Lyra observed. "You evolved to fight, yet you choose when not to." "That's what makes us human," Santos replied. "We can be both." 3 weeks later, in the grand atrium of the Galactic Council, Ambassador Chen Wei stood before the assembled representatives of 100 worlds. The luminary situation had dominated council discussions since the Vanguard's intervention. "The luminary of Luminara Colony have been safely relocated to their homeworld," Chen reported. "The Void March fleet has been dismantled, and War Commander Vex is in custody awaiting trial for crimes against sentient beings." Elder Zareen leaned forward. "And what of the humans? The UES Vanguard?" "The Vanguard completed its mission and returned to Earth space," Chen replied. "Commander Reyes has submitted a full report for Council records. The Council owes humanity a debt of gratitude," Elder Zareen acknowledged. "Though many of us were skeptical about your methods." "With respect, Elder," Admiral Krax interjected, "perhaps it's time we reconsidered our understanding of humans. They are indeed from a death world, but that has given them capabilities the rest of us lack." "Violence is still violence," objected Councillor Tyke, "even when employed for noble ends." "Is it violence to stop a predator from killing the innocent?" Krax countered. "The humans demonstrated remarkable restraint. They disabled rather than destroyed. They protected rather than avenged." Elder Zareen raised her hand for silence. "What do the luminary themselves say?" "They were the ones most directly affected by human intervention." Ambassador Chen activated a holographic display. The image of Elder Lyra appeared, her glow bright and steady. "The humans saved our people." Elder Lyra's recorded message began. "We sensed in them a capacity for violence that we found terrifying at first, but we also sensed something else. A fierce protectiveness, a willingness to stand between the helpless and harm's way. They are warriors, yes, but they are also guardians. The galaxy needs both." As the message ended, the council chamber fell silent. Elder Zareen finally spoke. "Perhaps we have been too quick to judge our human friends. They are indeed different from the rest of us, but difference is not necessarily a failing." Ambassador Chen smiled slightly. "Humans have a saying. The most dangerous place in the world is between a mother and her child. It means that protective instincts can manifest as fierce determination when necessary. And the galaxy was the child in this scenario." Councillor Tyke asked, his tone skeptical but thoughtful. "The luminary were," Chen corrected gently. "Next time, it might be someone else. The point is that humans will always answer a call for help. It's who we are." As the council session ended, Shen found herself reflecting on humanity's unique place in the galactic community. For thousands of years, the council species had evolved toward peace, deliberately moving away from their violent origins. Humans had taken a different path. They had embraced their capacity for both peace and war, for both creation and destruction. They had learned to be fierce when necessary and gentle when possible. The galaxy didn't quite know what to make of them yet, but one thing was becoming clear. when the helpless called for aid, when the peaceful found themselves facing violence, humanity answered. Not with empty platitudes or distant sympathy, but with determination and action. With ships like the Vanguard and soldiers like Santos, with the willingness to stand and fight when no one else would. Perhaps that was humanity's greatest gift to the stars. Not their technology or their art or their philosophy, but their uncompromising commitment to protecting those who could not protect themselves. The Deathworlders had arrived in the galaxy, and the predators of the void would never sleep quite so soundly again.